For as long as we've been around, we've been telling stories about this stuff. The fountain of youth, the elixir of life. It's not just some fantasy. It's this deep, primal urge to understand and maybe, just maybe, overcome one of life's biggest rules, that we all have to get old.
But what if it's not a rule at all? What if aging is just a problem? A biological problem that, like any other problem, we can actually solve, or at least slow down. That's exactly what we're going to dive into today, the science that's trying to do just that. So let's get into it.
Okay, so if you want to figure out how to beat the game, you've got to understand the rules first, right? And when it comes to life, the ultimate game designer is evolution. And here's the surprising part. Aging isn't a mistake. It's not a bug in the system. It's a feature, and it was programmed into us for a very, very specific reason.
When you look out at nature, pretty much every species is playing one of two different games. And the game they play is decided by their environment. See, if you live in a really dangerous world, a high-risk place with predators everywhere, the winning strategy is to live fast, die young. You just pour all your energy into making babies as quickly as you possibly can. But if you're in a safe, stable place, you can afford to play the long game, slow and steady.
So check this out. This number, that's the entire adult lifespan for some types of mayfly. It's the ultimate live-fast player. It comes out of the water, and often it doesn't even have a working mouth or stomach. It's got one mission and one mission only: reproduce. It has just a few minutes to get it done before it dies. It's evolution at its most brutal and, honestly, its most efficient.
And then you have the complete opposite, the Greenland shark. This thing is the absolute master of the slow and steady strategy. It lives deep down in the freezing Arctic waters where it's safe, not many predators. It can live for centuries. But get this, here's the real kicker. It doesn't even hit puberty. It's not ready to reproduce until it's about 150 years old. I mean, can you imagine?
So where do we fit into all this? Well, our world of supermarkets and modern medicine is brand new. It's a blip. For hundreds of thousands of years, we evolved back in the Stone Age. And that was a world of predators, disease, accidents. It was a high-risk environment. That means our bodies were programmed with a strategy that was all about survival and reproduction, not necessarily living for an incredibly long time. Okay, so if evolution is the why of aging, the next logical question is how? Like, how does it actually work inside our bodies? Well, the good news is scientists have now mapped out the core mechanisms, and they have a name for them: the hallmarks of aging. You can think of these hallmarks as a kind of master list of the culprits, the key things that go wrong as we get older. For the longest time, this knowledge was all over the place. But in 2013, scientists finally got together and organized it all into one clear framework. And this was a huge deal, because it gave us a clear roadmap of what we need to target to fight aging.
Now, scientists have identified over a dozen of these hallmarks, but we're just going to zero in on 3 of the really big ones. We're talking about damage to our actual DNA code, the wearing down of our chromosomes, and, yeah, the rise of the infamous zombie cells.
First up, genomic instability. So, every single time one of your cells divides, it has to make a perfect copy of 3 billion letters of DNA code. Now, the process is incredibly good, but it's not perfect. And over a lifetime of trillions and trillions of cell divisions, plus damage from things like the sun, little mistakes start to add up. Your body basically becomes a living museum of all these accumulated errors. Okay, the shoelace analogy for this is just perfect. Think of your DNA, your chromosomes, as shoelaces. The telomeres are those little plastic tips on the end that keep the whole thing from unraveling. Every time a cell divides, those little plastic tips get just a tiny bit shorter, and eventually they get so short that the cell can't divide safely anymore, and that triggers it to either stop working or just self-destruct. And this is where it gets a little spooky, because this brings us to the zombie cells. See, when a cell gets too damaged or its telomeres get too short, it's supposed to die off cleanly. But some of them, they don't. They go into this state called senescence. They stop working, but they refuse to die. They just hang around like zombies, spewing out all these inflammatory chemicals that damage all the healthy cells around them. All right, so we've talked about the why and the how of aging. And I know, it can sound kind of grim. But here's the empowering part. This is the really good news. We are not just helpless bystanders in this process. We actually have an incredibly powerful toolkit to fight back against these hallmarks, and it's something every single one of us can start using right now. It might not sound like futuristic science, but our first line of defense comes down to these 4 basic pillars, and each one directly pushes back against the damage we just talked about. For example, when you exercise, you're actively boosting your body's DNA repair systems. When you get quality sleep, that's when your brain and body do a massive cleanup of all that cellular junk. Smart nutrition gives your cells the right building blocks, and managing your stress can literally protect your telomeres from getting shorter too fast.
Look, if you take away just one thing today, let it be this. While we all dream about some magic pill in the future, the single biggest thing you can do for your lifespan and your health span comes down to mastering the basics. Your daily habits are the most powerful anti-aging tools you have.
But what about those future breakthroughs? I mean, mastering our habits lets us reach our natural potential, which is amazing. But science is now asking an even bigger question. Can we go beyond our natural limits? Can we actually supercharge our biology? To really get a sense of what the future might hold, you just have to look at the recent past. In less than 200 years, which in human history is a blink of an eye, we have doubled our average lifespan. We went from 40 to 80. And that didn't happen because of genetic engineering. It happened because of basic science: hygiene, vaccines, modern medicine. This is proof that our lifespan is not set in stone.
And that progress, it's speeding up. This is a wild statistic, but right now, the rate of progress is so fast that for every 24 hours you live, scientific advances are adding, on average, another 6 hours to humanity's life expectancy. Just let that sink in for a second. We are literally gaining time.
So this all leads to this incredible kind of mind-bending idea that some people call longevity escape velocity. It's this theoretical point in the future where science is advancing so fast that for every year you stay alive, technology adds more than another year to your life expectancy. If we ever reach that point, you could, in theory, just outrun death forever.
So what does this all mean? Well, given how fast things are moving, many serious scientists now believe that the first person who will live to be 150 or maybe even 200 years old has already been born. They're alive right now. And that thought just raises these huge questions, not just for science, but for everything: our society, our careers, our relationships, what it even means to live a full life. The quest to end aging is happening, and we're all a part of it. The real question is, are we ready for it?